For a homeowner, trees are a very important aspect of their yards for reasons such as shade, privacy, and aesthetic values, to name a few. But sometimes it may take a heavy storm for a homeowner to realize that that oak that's been there since their house was built is a little too close for comfort. Before you can begin removing a tree, you must first assess the area and take note of any potential hazards. These can include structures that you must avoid, such as sheds, houses, patios, paved areas, or swimming pools. Special steps will be taken to prevent any falling debris from coming into contact with any of this. Also, make sure to ask the homeowner where their septic is, if it is not already known. This will determine where debris can fall and what type of equipment can be used. Reliable equipment is necessary in any tree removal process. For your own safety, please wear a helmet, ear, and eye protection. If you are climbing, 2 ropes are generally being used. The first rope is your climbing line, which is rated for climbing use with a high working load capacity for safety. The second rope is a heavier rope that is used for lowering wood. It is important that you do not mix these ropes between jobs, especially in the case of your climbing rope, to assure it is not overstressed and safe for use. In lowering situations, it is helpful to have a lowering device to control the speed at which debris descends. We specifically use a device called a porter wrap. The device uses friction to aid the groundsman in preventing debris from coming crashing down. Different saws will be used during the felling, which include regular sized chainsaws to cut up brush, to remove, and to cut down the stalk of the tree. A handsaw for the climber to use if needed, as well as a lightweight top handle climbing chainsaw to easily cut limbs. The person climbing will be equipped with a climbing saddle, a lanyard, small chainsaw, handsaw, one end of the climbing rope, and climbing spikes. The climber will then ascend the tree via spikes and lanyard to a point where they will tie into a sturdy crotch on the tree. The climber then attaches his saddle to the rope with a bowline on one side and a prusik, blake hitch, or other type of friction knot or device on the other. The climber can now begin removing limbs. Here is an example of where lowering is required because the tree is in close proximity to the house. It's important for you to pull out the line and get it as untangled as possible, so when you're lowering a limb or a piece of wood, it doesn't get caught up on you. Now, what I'm about to do here is I'm about to pull as much slack out of it as possible, because when that limb drops, it's going to tug. And now I'm putting it in the porter wrap, which you will be able to see in a second. It may not be necessary to actually put it in the porter wrap, but it is better safe than sorry. There might actually be enough wraps around the wood itself to have enough friction to not use it. And it's important to get a good distance away, so if something were to go wrong, you aren't under it, which, if done properly, nothing will go wrong. Now my boss is cutting the limb. And like I said, in this case, there was enough friction that it was being held in place, so I'm taking it out of the porter wrap, or taking a wrap off of it. And now I'm taking it out of the porter wrap. keeping tension on the line while I'm walking away, because if I wasn't, it could potentially drop. And here it goes. Now it's important to make sure that it's not wobbling around while you're lowering it, so you don't hit anything. You need to get control of it and find a good spot for it to drop. Once it gets close enough, you can walk in and grab it while still holding tension on the line. And keeping it away from the structure. And once it's on the ground, you can untie it. It's actually tied with a bowline. Basically, you tie a bowline around the rope, and it's called a running bowline. And this process will be completed until wood can be safely dropped and controlled. As the climber ascends, he'll want to cut limbs on his way up, as to prevent any higher limbs from getting caught on lower limbs or stubs. He can also use wedge cuts to help control the direction in which limbs fall. Before dropping any of the major pieces of the tree, such as large, heavy limbs or the trunk itself, the groundsman will want to clean up any brush that's still there. This will help prevent tripping. It'll help prevent you from getting caught up in it while you're dropping the major pieces, as well as make it a little bit easier for you to clean up once everything is down. As brush piles up, the groundsman will want to move and organize the brush, either to set aside or immediately chip. The groundsman can remove the brush by hand or use equipment such as a mini loader or arbor trolley, if available, to make things easier. Any big pieces of wood that cannot be chipped should either be cut into firewood lengths for the customer if they choose, or be removed and hauled away. Once a landing area has been cleared, use your chainsaw to make a wedge cut flat on the bottom in the direction that you wish to fell the tree. Then, with a back cut, the tree should hinge toward your wedge cut. If the stalk is oddly shaped, roping and pulling the trunk may be required to control the fell. Aside from getting the tree safely down in a timely manner, in my opinion, cleanup is the most important part of the job, especially if you want to keep your client. The job site should be left neater, if not the same as you started with, not with debris everywhere.